Hey everybody, and welcome to Brandermill Local Radio with me, Greg Smith. I'm here with Tanya Roberts, and we're bringing you Chesterfield Public Library highlights for the week of March 2nd, 2025.
That's right. Let's dive into all the exciting events happening at our local libraries this week.
Yeah, there's so much going on. The Chesterfield Public Library has really pulled out all the stops this month.
Yeah, they really have. I think what's really interesting to me is the variety. We've got everything from historical exhibits to hands-on workshops, author talks, even a diaper drive.
Wow, a diaper drive. Okay.
Oh.
Well, let's unpack all of this a bit. Where should we start? Maybe something for the history buffs.
Well, we're coming up on the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution.
Oh, all right.
And the library is marking the occasion with several special events. If you're interested in that period, the North Courthouse Road Library is the place to be this month.
Really? What kind of stuff is happening over there?
So they've actually managed to snag a traveling exhibit from the Virginia Museum of History and Culture. It's called Give Me Liberty, Virginia and the Forging of a Nation. It'll be on display from March 27th to May 1st. Sounds like a pretty in-depth look at Virginia's role in the Revolution.
Wow, a traveling exhibit that's pretty cool. It makes you realize how important Virginia was in the fight for independence. It wasn't just about Boston Tea Parties up north.
Exactly. And speaking of Virginia's role, the North Courthouse Road Library is also hosting a Meet Patrick Henry event.
Oh, wow.
On March 29th. You can actually catch a reenactment of part of his famous Give Me Liberty or Give Me Death speech.
Oh, that's cool. I'd like to see that. You know, it's one thing to read those words in a history book, but to hear them spoken aloud with all the passion and conviction, I bet that would give you chills.
I think so, too. You know what's often overlooked is the contribution of Black soldiers in the Revolution, and the North Courthouse Road Library is going to be shining a light on that with a presentation called Forgotten Patriots, Virginia's Black Soldiers in the American Revolution on April 10th.
Yeah. You know, that's a really important reminder that history is made up of so many different perspectives. It's not just about the big names and battles.
Absolutely, and it's great to see the library highlighting those lesser-known stories. But, it's not all about looking back at the past. The library has plenty going on for those interested in art, too.
Oh, yeah. I did see something about an arts fest. Is that right?
That's right. The Chesterfield County Public Schools Arts Fest will be taking place at all library locations from March 10th to April 4th. What I find particularly interesting about this one is that it showcases artwork from elementary school students.
Elementary school students.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I bet that's incredibly inspiring to see what these young minds come up with. Maybe it'll even inspire some of our listeners to tap into their own creative sides, no matter what age.
I hope so. And if you're looking for a more hands-on artistic experience, the library has some great workshops lined up too. On March 8th, the Midlothian Library is hosting a Create a Pop-Up Card workshop for K-5 students.
Oh, pop-up cards. Those are always fun to make. That takes me back. This workshop is inspired by the work of artist Collette.
It is. Her work is really amazing. She creates these incredibly intricate and detailed pop-up books and paper sculptures. It's such a unique art form that blends storytelling and visual art in a way that's really fascinating.
I can see where the library chose her as inspiration for this workshop. It's a great way to introduce kids to different styles and techniques. And for the adults out there, there's the Decorative Kitchen Stand workshop at the Ettrick-Matoaca Library on March 11th. Sounds like a fun way to add a touch of handmade charm to your kitchen.
I love that they're offering something for adults too. Speaking of different artistic styles, there's another workshop for K-5 students happening on March 15th at the Clover Library. This one focuses on creating patterned ceramic wall pockets, drawing inspiration from the artist Lucy M. Lewis.
Lucy M. Lewis. Now remind me, what kind of art is she known for?
She was a renowned potter from Acoma Pueblo in New Mexico, and her work is characterized by these really beautiful, intricate geometric patterns. It's a style that's deeply rooted in her heritage, and it's amazing to see the library incorporating such diverse artistic influences into their programming.
It really speaks to their commitment to exposing the community to a wide range of art forms and traditions. It's not just about the standard paint and canvas experience.
Exactly. They're really encouraging people to explore creativity in all its forms. And, speaking of exploring, the library has a pretty impressive lineup of author events happening this month as well.
Oh, right. I did see that they have some big names coming in for virtual talks.
They do. Dan Heath will be speaking on March 12th, Clara Bingham on March 20th, and Jennifer Weiner on March 26th. That's quite a range of authors covering different genres and topics.
Have they released any information about what each author will be discussing? It'd be interesting to know if they're focusing on their latest books or perhaps broader themes in their work.
I believe they have more details on their website. You can usually find like summaries of the talks and information about the author's recent publications. It's a great way to decide which events might be most interesting to you.
You know, one thing I've always appreciated about the Chesterfield Public Library is how they cater to both virtual and in-person audiences. So for those who prefer a more face-to-face experience, they've got an evening with Sharon McMahon scheduled for April 25th at the Beulah Recreation Center.
Oh, yes. Sharon McMahon, better known as America's government teacher.
Yeah.
She's got that fantastic podcast, Here's Where It Gets Interesting. And now she's out with her debut book, The Small and the Mighty. It's a chance to hear her insights firsthand, which I'm sure will be fascinating.
You know, I'm a big fan of her podcast. She has such a knack for explaining those complex government topics in a way that's both informative and engaging. It's not easy to make those subjects come alive, but she manages to do it with wit and a genuine passion for civic education.
I agree completely. It's wonderful that the library is bringing her to Chesterfield. It's an event that I imagine will appeal to a wide range of people, whether they're already civically engaged or just starting to explore those topics.
Yeah, and I think it speaks to the library's commitment to fostering a well-informed community. You know, it's not just about providing entertainment, it's about giving people the tools and knowledge to be active participants in our democracy.
Well said. And, you know, while we're on the topic of the library's role in the community, I wanted to mention their ongoing diaper drive. It's such a wonderful initiative to support local families in need.
Absolutely. It's running throughout March, and they're accepting donations of newly packaged baby and toddler diapers and wipes at any library location. It's amazing how something as simple as donating diapers can make a real difference in the lives of families struggling to make ends meet.
It really does. It highlights the library's commitment to serving as a resource hub for the entire community. They're not just about books and events, they're about meeting people where they are and providing support where it's needed.
Okay, so we've covered historical exhibits, art events, author talks, and a diaper drive. Anything else on the agenda?
Let's see. Yes. There's a big event coming up in April that's perfect for families. The Children's Daybook Day Festival.
Oh, I've heard about that one. It's at the Meadowdale Library, right?
That's right. And the best part is it's an outdoor event. Imagine enjoying the spring weather surrounded by books and activities for all ages. They'll have story times, games, resources. It sounds like a wonderful way to celebrate reading and family and community all in one place.
I love that they're holding it outdoors. It just adds to the festive atmosphere, don't you think?
Definitely. And, you know, it's a great reminder that reading can be a shared experience, you know, something to be enjoyed together outdoors in a community setting. It's not just about solitary reading time tucked away in a corner.
And speaking of making things convenient, we can't forget about the library's 2047 book lockers. Those are a lifesaver for people with busy schedules.
Oh, absolutely. Imagine this. You're craving a new book, but you can't make it to the library during their open hours. No problem. Just reserve your book online, select a locker as your pickup location, and grab it whenever it's convenient for you.
It's like having a personal library concierge available 24/7. Talk about adapting to the needs of a modern lifestyle.
Exactly. It really highlights how the library is constantly evolving to meet the demands of our busy lives. You know, they're not stuck in the past. They're embracing new technologies, approaches to make their resources as accessible as possible.
It's really impressive when you think about all the different ways the library is serving the community.
Yeah.
They're not just a place to borrow books anymore. They're a true hub for learning, creativity, and connection.
Couldn't agree more. And with all these amazing events happening, I'm actually curious, what stands out to you the most?
You know, I think what's really striking me is the sheer diversity of it all. We've got history, art, literature, community outreach. It's like they've tapped into every facet of what makes a community vibrant and engaging. They're not just focusing on one type of person or interest. They're offering something for everyone. It's really remarkable.
I agree. It's a testament to the power of libraries as community centers, places where everyone can find something to learn and enjoy and connect with.
And it makes me excited to see what they'll come up with next. But for now, we've got a whole month of incredible events to look forward to. It's going to be a busy and enriching spring for Chesterfield residents, that's for sure.
It certainly seems that way. And, you know, as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I'm left wondering, what sparks your curiosity the most? What are you most looking forward to exploring at the Chesterfield Public Library this month? As we continue exploring these Chesterfield Public Library events, it's clear they're not just about passive learning. They're really encouraging people to get hands-on and engage with the material in a deeper way.
Yeah, those art workshops we were talking about. They're not just lectures or demonstrations. They're opportunities for people to roll up their sleeves and create something themselves.
Right. Like, imagine being a kid in that pop-up card workshop, learning about Collette Foo's intricate designs, and then getting to build your own 3D masterpiece. That's the kind of experience that sparks a lifelong love of art.
Yeah, I bet those kids will be showing off their creations to everyone they know. And it's not just kids who benefit from that hands-on approach. That decorative kitchen stand workshop for adults sounds equally engaging. It's a chance to learn a new skill and add a personal touch to your home.
It's like they've tapped into the whole DIY movement and brought it to the library. It's brilliant. And what's really interesting to me is how they're using these workshops to introduce people to different artistic styles and cultural traditions.
Yeah, like that patterned ceramic wall pockets workshop inspired by Lucy M. Lewis. I admit I wasn't familiar with her work before, but the way you described her intricate geometric patterns, it sounds really captivating.
Her pottery is stunning, and it's a great example of how art can be a window into a different culture. I'm sure those kids will not only learn about ceramics, but also gain a deeper appreciation for Acoma Pueblo artistry.
It's like a mini art history lesson wrapped up in a fun, creative activity. And it makes me think about how these library events are not just about isolated experiences, they're about connecting people to broader themes and ideas.
Exactly. And, speaking of connections, we were talking about the American Revolution earlier, and it made me think about how those historical events continue to resonate with us today, like the ideals of liberty and democracy that were fought for back then. They're still so relevant to our lives now.
Yeah, it's a really good point. It's easy to think of history as something that happened in the past, but it really does shape who we are in the world we live in.
And that's why I think it's so important that the library is offering programs like that Give Me Liberty exhibit and the Forgotten Patriots presentation. They're not just recounting events, they're inviting us to reflect on the past and consider its implications for the present.
It makes me wonder, what would Patrick Henry say if he were alive today? Would he still be delivering fiery speeches about liberty? What issues would he be passionate about?
That's a fascinating question. And it's one that the library is indirectly prompting us to consider by bringing history to life through these events. They're sparking curiosity and encouraging us to engage with the past in a meaningful way.
And it's not just about American history. The library is bringing in authors like Dan Heath, Clara Bingham, and Jennifer Weiner, who are all exploring contemporary issues and ideas through their writing.
Right. Each of those authors brings a unique perspective to the table, covering topics that range from business and psychology to social justice and women's rights. It's a reminder that learning is a lifelong journey, and there's always something new to discover.
And I love that they're offering those author talks virtually. It makes them accessible to people who might not be able to attend in person, whether it's due to location schedule or other constraints. It's a great way to expand the library's reach and bring those authors to a wider audience.
And speaking of reaching a wider audience, that Sharon McMahon event is a prime example of how the library is becoming a hub for civic engagement.
Oh yeah, having America's government teacher come to Chesterfield, that's a big deal. She's got a huge following thanks to her podcast and her ability to break down complex government topics in a way that's both informative and entertaining.
Right. She's got this knack for making even the most mundane aspects of government sound fascinating. And I think that's so important, especially in today's world where there's so much misinformation and apathy surrounding politics.
I agree. It's like she's on a mission to empower people with knowledge about how our government works, and that's something I can definitely get behind.
It's a reminder that we all have a role to play in our democracy, and understanding the system is the first step. And, it's not just about national politics. The library is also supporting local families and building community connections through initiatives like that diaper drive and the Children's Day Book Day Festival.
Yeah, those events really speak to the library's commitment to serving the entire community. They're not just about providing intellectual stimulation. They're about meeting practical needs and fostering a sense of belonging.
It's like they're saying, we're here for you no matter who you are or what you need. And that's a powerful message, especially in today's world where divisions and inequalities can feel so prominent.
And those book lockers are another example of how the library is making its resources accessible to everyone. It's like they've removed all the barriers, whether it's time constraints, transportation issues, or anything else that might prevent someone from visiting the library in person.
Exactly. It's all about meeting people where they are and making sure everyone has the opportunity to engage with the library's offerings. It's a truly remarkable approach.
As we're talking about all of this, I'm starting to realize that the library is so much more than just a place to borrow books. It's a vibrant community center, a hub for learning and creativity, a resource for families, a platform for civic engagement. It's really quite extraordinary.
I agree. It's like this hidden gem in our community offering so much more than meets the eye. And what's really exciting is that they're constantly evolving and adapting to the needs of the community. I can't wait to see what they come up with next.
Me neither. But for now, I think we've covered a pretty impressive range of events and initiatives. I'm feeling inspired and energized just thinking about all the possibilities.
And that's the beauty of it, isn't it? The library sparks curiosity, ignites imagination, and empowers us to learn and grow throughout our lives.
It truly does. And I hope our listeners are feeling that same spark as we wrap up this part of our deep dive. But before we move on, I'm curious what has resonated with you the most so far. What's got you thinking, I need to check this out?
That's a great question for me. It's the way the library is weaving together seemingly disparate themes and ideas, like they're connecting history to the present art, to culture and individual learning, to community engagement. It's creating this rich tapestry of experiences that's both intellectually stimulating and deeply meaningful.
That's a beautiful way to put it. It makes me wonder what connections will our listeners make as they explore these events and resources for themselves. What new insights and perspectives will they discover? That's what's truly exciting to me. As we're wrapping up our deep dive into the Chesterfield Public Library's offerings, I'm struck by how they've managed to create such a dynamic and engaging space for the community.
Really impressive. They've gone above and beyond the traditional image of a library as just a repository for books. They've transformed it into a vibrant hub of activity and connection.
And that's what makes them so successful. They're not just catering to one type of person or interest. They're embracing the diversity of the community and offering something for everyone.
Absolutely. They're acknowledging that learning takes many forms, and they're providing opportunities for people to engage with information and ideas in ways that resonate with them.
Like, think about the different formats. We've got traditional exhibits for those who enjoy a more immersive historical experience, hands-on workshops for the creative types, virtual author talks, for those who prefer the convenience of online learning, and even outdoor festivals for a more family-friendly, community-oriented vibe.
It's like they've got a learning style menu and you can choose your own adventure. And it's not just about the format, it's about the content as well. They're covering such a wide range of topics, from history and art to literature and current events.
And they're not shying away from complex or challenging subjects either. They're tackling issues like social justice, civic engagement, and even the role of technology in our lives. They're encouraging people to think critically and engage in meaningful conversations.
It's almost as if they're saying, come on in, let's explore these ideas together. They're creating a space for dialogue and discovery, and I think that's incredibly valuable in today's world.
I couldn't agree more. And it's not just about intellectual stimulation either. They're also fostering a sense of community through initiatives like the Diaper Drive and the Children's Day Book Day Festival. They're recognizing that a library is more than just a place to borrow books. It's a place where people can come together and support each other.
It's a place where everyone is welcome regardless of their background or beliefs. And I think that's a really powerful message, especially in a time when divisions and polarization can feel so prevalent.
And what's really amazing is that they're constantly evolving and expanding their offerings. They're not content to rest on their laurels. They're always looking for new and innovative ways to engage the community.
Right. Like those 24/7 book lockers, that's such a brilliant idea. It's like they're saying, we know you're busy. We want to make it as easy as possible for you to access our resources. And that kind of forward-thinking approach is what sets them apart.
As we've been talking about all this, I've been thinking about how lucky we are to have such an incredible resource right here in Chesterfield.
I know, right? It's easy to take it for granted, but the library is truly a gem in our community, and I hope our deep dive has inspired our listeners to rediscover all that it has to offer.
Me too. Whether you're a lifelong learner, a curious explorer, or simply looking for a place to connect with your community, the Chesterfield Public Library has something for you.
So go ahead, check out their website, browse their catalog, attend an event, or just stop by and say hello. You might be surprised at what you discover.
And who knows, you might even find yourself inspired to embark on your own deep dive into a new subject or passion. After all, that's what the library is all about, sparking curiosity and opening up a world of possibilities.
Well said. And on that note, we'll leave you with this final thought. What will your next deep dive be?
Thanks for listening to Brandermill Local Radio, and we'll catch you next time.